Welcome back, webheads. This is part 2 of our two-parter.
Two-part Secret
episode.
Wars story.
You heard the first part.
And now you're hearing the second.
Don't listen to this out of order.
Please. There's 2 parts.
If you need a refresher, go back and listen to the end of the last episode.
Or just listen to the whole thing, which would make a lot more sense.
But if you forgot it already and you listened to it, I wouldn't say listen to it again.
It's not going to hurt anything to listen to it again. But yeah, just listen to like the last 10-15 minutes.
Yeah.
And you'll be okay.
Just so you know, I'll give a quick refresher.
Okay.
Some heroes from Earth and some villains from Earth got transported to a planet made of a bunch of other planets.
Yeah.
And they were told if they slay their enemies, they can get any wish fulfilled. And so the heroes versus villains have been fighting it out.
All right.
There you go. That's all you need.
There you go. Let's get started.
Hello.
Issue number 5, we see exactly what's going on. And basically, Galactus this whole time has been calling his ship from the other side of the universe. And so it's been traveling. And it finally gets there. And essentially, when his ship gets wherever he's trying to go, it means he's looking to eat that planet.
Yeah.
And so everyone's freaking out. Well, Reed mostly. Everyone else is kind of just like, what's the big deal?
What is he doing? All he did was raise his arms.
And essentially, Galactus wanted to, when the Beyonder told them what their prize was, that he can grant any wish, Galactus was like, I want this hunger to be gone. I don't want to hunger for planets anymore. I just want to be regular.
Yeah.
And so pretty much if he kills any of these people, he'll get his wish. And so if he eats a planet, there's really no way anybody can survive that. And he gets to eat a planet one last time, and he gets to not eat them after that.
It's not bad logic.
And so Reed is trying to come up with a plan to stop that. Johnny and this girl that he's fallen in love with that doesn't speak a lick of English have a moment where they're huffing and puffing some weird gas, and their minds kind of like meld, so she can see what he's seen, and he can see what she's seen. But most importantly, she can see what's going on. She sees that all these people were brought here against their will and have now been put into this contest on this patchwork planet, and they're all fighting for survival and to get home.
That's crazy. The whole page is kind of crazy.
It really is. I like the whole what they did with the planet and everything. And then is this the one where? Yeah. Colossus is weird. We're going to skip that panel.
What is he doing? That man's down bad. Woof.
Yeah, so we cut back to Magneto and the X-Men. Colossus is over here half naked, dreaming about hopefully a girl that is not underage.
Hopefully she's 18 for his sake.
And then Professor X with his intruding...
Pull your pants up. Get over here.
Get that out your hand. He just big old Professor X head pops up.
Just like in the last episode.
And he's just been so demanding. Every time he does this, he's like, it's so intrusive. He just yells at them. It's not even like, hey, I need to see you. You guys come here. It's like, get over here now.
Yeah, it's just you can even just send out an alert to everybody.
He's like the most extra guy. It's like, you could have a phone and he can text you, but he just decides to just pop up in you, floating above your bed.
He pops up right there in the window. I need you outside now.
When you're taking a shit, just, come now. I need you.
All right, Charlie, give me a minute.
I got like 5 minutes, bro. And so, yeah, he calls everybody to the meeting room. And pretty much they see that Galactus' ship is coming. And they have to decide what they're going to do. And at this point, no one really cares what the X-Men are going to do. We jump back to the villains, and all the big muscular villains are sitting there just kind of having a dick contest.
Pretty much.
Absorbing Man and one of the Wrecking Crew are just like comparing their ball and chain to each other and how they got it. And then Molecule Man with Volcania are walking by, and she's pretty hot stuff, you know. And Molecule Man is just like a small little nerdy guy. So they walk past, and they're just like making fun of him like school bullies. And Molecule Man's like, I'm not having any of this. So he turns one of the Wrecking Crew's outfits into like solid rock, and then just pushes him over in the mud, and then just starts stomping on him.
What? She stomped his face into the mud.
And he's out here drowning in mud. And then they just like walk off, and the rest of the crew are just like, yeah, man, you're all good with us. Like, no worries.
Yeah, no issues over here, buddy.
And then he makes a chariot out of nothing, and they just fly off into the sky.
Yeah, a chariot pulled by nothing.
They pull a grease at the end of grease and just fly off into the sky.
What the fuck is this?
We jump to Doom, talking to... I keep wanting to call her Sylvie. Doom talking to Enchantress, and she's trying to pretty much... Nobody wants to die, because that's the end goal here. If they either kill or be killed, and nobody wants to die, so she's trying to pretty much just, like, ask Doom, like, don't let us die, let me help you, or, like, help me get out of here. And he's like, I ain't got time for you. And she's like, fine, I'll leave. So she leaves. Doom is just contemplating over his computer. And Reed tries to reach out to Galactus because they've battled before. So he's like, we're cool. We're friends. We can talk. And so he's trying to talk to Galactus. And the guy is just, like, not hearing him. He's just so set on just doing what he's doing that he just pays no attention to Reed as he's trying to talk to him. Then, out of nowhere, Magneto's base gets destroyed. Reed gets shot with the beam. And this is pretty much Galactus's ship setting up its safety maneuvers. Mm-hmm. So it's sending out like a creature to beat up the heroes. It takes pretty much all of them to take this thing out. The world-eating machine that Galactus uses is being set up pretty quickly, so they're running out of time. And Cap is kind of like in a hard spot because they have to be ready to strike the machine right when Galactus starts it up, but they also know the villains are also plotting to come after them. So some of them want to go take the villains on, some of them want to stay there. And Cap just has to make the decision, like, no, we're going to stay and stop Galactus before, he destroys the world. They're able to take down that machine monster thing that Galactus sent. But in the same time, the villains show back up and start fucking everybody up. And so they're kicking ass. The heroes are barely holding on. A lot of them have already been taken out by that machine monster thing. And so there's maybe only like 4 of them left. They're on their last leg. And then who else shows up but the X-Men, helping a little bit, putting a little bit more work into it, but more distraction than anything, as when they're fighting, they really just kind of scare the villains off because they weren't expecting the X-Men to be there. Mm-hmm. Colossus gets hurt. He gets smacked in the gut. That's what it looks like. I can't really tell. But one of the wreckers...
just takes a crowbar to the gut.
Yeah. But apparently it's a mortal wound. And he's dying.
He's made of like metal.
Yeah. But that's an enchanted crowbar, so maybe
it must be.
So the villains leave and the X-Men leave, and they leave Colossus.
What is wrong with these guys?
And Professor X, his reasoning is pretty much that he knew Johnny and some of the other heroes got hurt before, and there's obviously a healer in that town. Mm-hmm. The healer will take care of Colossus. We'll come back for him. And so they just run off and just leave him there. And then So they asked the healer to heal Colossus, but he's like, no, I don't need your help. I want to die here. Because he's just so distraught that Kitty isn't there.
I'm never going to get back to her.
But here's where the weird stuff starts happening.
Oh, that?
He sees Johnny and this girl, like, in love. And then he starts having feelings like, damn, like, that looks pretty good. So he starts staring at this woman. And she's giving him the eyes. And he starts falling in love with her.
This lady's like 5 times Kitty's age.
Yeah, she looks
even in the drawing, she has wrinkles in her face.
And like after this, he totally forgets about Kitty.
Jesus, this man is sick.
And while all this is happening, Doom took a ship and flew all the way to Galactus' ship and is now inside. Now he's just wandering around this ship, just like looking at all the new, like the technology that's in there, and trying to figure out what he can use in here to defeat Galactus and become the person to take out the Beyonder.
Is there? I'm sure there is, but there's not many villains that are more dedicated to succeeding than Dr. Doom. He's done everything that he's wanted to do here, and yes, man.
Yeah, the Wrecking Crew, Absorbing Man, they've really just done things just because Doom said to do it. If Doom didn't say to do anything, they'd probably just be sitting on their ass the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Doom has an ambition.
Yeah,
and I don't.
He's got a real drive to him.
I still don't know why the Lizard's here.
I forgot he was here. He hasn't done anything. So
we start issue number 6 with Janet the Wasp flying her ship, or trying to fly her ship. She's literally skipping off the ground. Like, she'll go up and just hit the ground. She finally crashes it, gets out, and just decides to fly any direction, hoping she finds something. She ends up in a swamp and is just kind of chilling there. The Lizard shows up and tries to fight her. And then she's just like, chill out, bro. They have a little heart-to-heart, and she sees that he's wounded on his arm. Mm-hmm. So she heals him, and they just become friends after that. We jump back to Galactus' ship, and Doom has somehow learned how to use the mechanisms inside Galactus' ship. And he brings back... He thinks it's a machine that's going to bring whatever his mind thinks of. Mm-hmm. It's really just a machine. He brings back Claw. And he's like, what the hell are you doing here? And Claw's just like, I live here. And I guess at some point, Claw was fighting Dazzler. And she absorbed, because he's sound. Mm-hmm. And her power is sound-based. So she absorbed all his sound. And then when she became a Herald of Galactus, that power got absorbed into the ship. And so now a faint signal of his original sound has been living in the walls of Galactus' ship. So Doom pretty much just brought him back. But now he's insane, where he only says a couple words and then just kind of repeats the word over and over and over. And so Doom brings him back and he's like, what? Claw? Claw, the self-styled master of sound? He's like, what are you doing here in the House of Galactus? And then Claw's just like, home, 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 home. And then he tells the whole story of how he got there. And then he just becomes Doom's, like, lapdog from here on out.
At one point he says, but I want to put a fly in Galactus' soup. Oop, oop, oop.
And then Doom sends him back. He puts him in a machine that he somehow knows how to work, and then sends him down back to the villains. And the way he gets zapped in is like, he looks like a model.
He looks like he's in a Madonna video.
And he tries to tell them, hey, like, Doom sent me. Here's his plan. And they're like, who the fuck are you? I don't care who you say you are. We don't do anything unless Doom says so. And so they don't listen to him, but we jump back to the swamp, and or we jump back to Magneto's ship, And Professor X is just like sitting there looking so tired, like he's actually doing shit.
It's that walking. It's taking it
I
out
think
of him.
this is, yeah, he says, I wish I had brought my wheelchair along when we left the other fortress. My legs have not been quite strong enough. But then he's like, no, using it even a little would give my X-Men doubts about my ability to lead the team into battle. A new role for me, but essential to, I believe, under these circumstances. So really, he hasn't been doing much of anything besides before this, because right now Storm is the leader of the X-Men.
Okay.
And so
the new haircut.
Yeah, and since they've been on this planet, he's like, oh, I'm calling the shots now. And so it's leading to some sort of like some animosity because
there's always a power trip.
He's waking him up with his big head alarm clock, and he's also not letting the leader lead.
See? That's the same thing he did to Cyclops.
And so he tries to probe the whole planet and get into everybody's mind. And he learns some stuff, but Enchantress shuts him out before he gets everything. And then he calls to his X-Men once more. And Cyclops is just like, yes, sir. Like, I'm there for you. Whatever you need.
Whatever you say.
But Storm is like, what the fuck, man? Like, I'm the leader. Let me lead. And he's just like, listen, while you're on this planet, I'm the leader. And while we're in battle, I'm the leader. And she's like, whatever, dude.
Yeah, whatever.
I can't say anything or else they'll throw me out. And then we jump back to the village, and the Peter Rasputin is now, if you look in that panel, Kitty is now turning into the new woman.
I'm telling you, this man is down bad, big time.
And he learned her name, and she's like healing him. And then Johnny comes and picks her up, and he has to watch that whole thing happen.
Yeah, now the new girl that you love just flew off with somebody else. And now they're making out?
And he has no idea how to even speak. Neither of them know how to speak to this woman.
No. And why is Johnny singing Thriller as he flies off?
It was the 80s, man. If this was written now, it'd be pushing P.
Oh, God. These comics are something else. Look at Colossus just sitting there like, oh my God.
He looks embarrassed, like he just got caught with a boner.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, wow, this is something new to me. Wow.
I've never been in this kind of a position before.
And then we jump back to the other heroes. They're planning their attack, or what they're going to do. They all want to go find Wasp, but Cap is like, no, we got to stay here and watch Galactus. So She-Hulk decides to go off on her own and find them. And then on this page, we also see, this is what I was talking about, Iron Man, who is also James Rhodes, flies in next to Captain Marvel, and he's like, what's happening, babe? And she says, I'll make you a deal. You call me Captain Marvel instead of babe, and I'll call you Iron Man instead of bozo. And he's like, huh? And he says, what's wrong with that woman? And what's wrong with me? My head hurts. It's been happening a lot lately. And then the next panel says, you. I got my work done for me. I better just forget about my head and that squeeze.
Yeah, man, you know, Ed.
And to remind you all, I did not know this was James Rhodes. So I thought that was Tony Stark saying that the whole time. And it's like, what's wrong with him?
I'm sure there was plenty of people confused when they were reading this. Like, I've never seen Iron Man talk like this. This must be like they're probably people thinking he's like a variant or something.
Yeah, like if when this came out and if you weren't an Iron Man fan and you never read any of the Iron Man books, you come into this completely confused. If you only read them in like Avengers or something.
I'm only hoping that this wasn't like a standalone story, and then like this was like all these characters are coming off of their own separate stories. Because if this was a standalone story and then you saw this and he's talking like this, you.
Yeah, at this time, this is when Tony wasn't Iron Man because he was alcoholic.
Yeah.
So Rhodey had to jump in and become Iron Man. And then, previous to this, Professor X has sent Rogue, Wolverine, and Cyclops to go just watch the villains because they were sent out on their own mission.
Mm-hmm.
So they were just sent to watch. Somehow, some way, I don't know how it's pretty stupid, but they land right next to the villains. And then they're surprised that they have to fight them now.
Oh, damn.
And so a small fight breaks out. Titania is pretty much putting in all the work. Cyclops and Rogue are kind of putting in a little work, but I mean, it's Titania, Molecule Man, Doc Ock, and Absorbing Man. Mm-hmm. So they're outnumbered already, but they're definitely outgunned. Somehow they are able to get the upper hand, and Wolverine goes in for the kill. Because if they kill Molecule Man, that's like their biggest problem. If he takes care of them, they can get a lot done. And he's about to go in for the kill, but Cyclops stops him. And that alerts Molecule Man to turn around, which only gets him sliced, but not killed. But he's down for the count. So after that, they pick him up, and they fly off. Cyclops tells Wolverine, if you kill, you're out of here. You're not X-Men anymore.
Come on.
And then they walk up to this hill, and they see what the villains were looking at, which is just this volcano that's covered up. And Cyclops just decides to shoot it, which causes a volcanic eruption to happen all over the planet.
This guy's an idiot.
And the X-Men just fly off like they didn't do anything.
Don't say anything to anybody.
And we jump back to the swamp with Wasp and the Lizard, and they're just buddies now. And then the Wasp gets shot. And she's just dead.
What the hell?
Just shot through the chest. And this huge tank rolls up. The wrecking crew's in there. They come to pick up the Lizard for some reason. Like he's really necessary.
We're looking for you all over the planet.
So they kill the Wasp with Take Lizard. And now that Wasp and Lizard are best friends, the Lizard is not having it. He decides to start attacking them. But they're able to freeze him in some sort of stasis trance. And they take him and the Wasp's body into the tank. They leave, and then we go back to the heroes, and they're still planning their escape, or what they're planning on what they're going to do with Galactus and rescuing the other villain, or heroes. And we see someone sneaking in the shadows. Whoever could this be? Any guesses? Looks to be a woman. We'll find out on the first page of the next issue. So issue number 7, Spider-Woman shows up. Not the Jessica Drew Spider-Woman. This is the red hair, black suit Spider-Woman. Yeah. And so all the heroes show up and like, who the heck are you? And she's just like, oh, I'm Spider-Woman. I saw you guys fighting the other day, so I decided to help out. And they're like, well, this is dangerous, young lady. Like, are you sure you want to do this? And she's like, what the hell? Like, I just picked up this huge boulder, showed you guys how strong I am. Like, oh.
I know that you guys have had women on your team over the last couple of days.
And Spider-Man just sitting there the whole time, like, who the hell is this? It does make me wonder, though, like, you have a fairly similar, like, cool, okay, you're going to go Spider-Woman, I'm Spider-Man, like, same but different. Yeah. But the suit, the eyes, like...
if we know each other, then yeah, cool. Go ahead, do your thing. Yeah. But if I have never seen you before, and all of a sudden you show up, and your whole steez is pretty much mine... Like, we gotta...
And she's from Colorado.
Yeah, what are you doing in Colorado?
And then, so they're talking to Spider-Woman, and all of a sudden that giant tank shows back up. It just rolls through town.
That tank really is big.
And they throw the Wasp body out, just toss it out.
He picked her up with one hand, chucked her out, and said, catch.
It's like when you drive by your friend and you just throw a water bottle at him or something.
Like an open water bottle. That's dirty.
And her lifeless body just on the ground. They try to get the healer to heal her, but she's already too far gone. And so She-Hulk is pissed. And everyone else is pissed. They're like, we got to get our revenge now. Like, we got to avenge her. We're the Avengers. And Captain America's just like, no, I don't think we will. No. We better stay here and watch Galactus and, be ready for when that happens. Yeah. And everyone else is just like, well, I guess you're right. But She-Hulk, she's like, nah, I'm not doing that. So she decides to leave. Then we jump back to the X-Men. they're flying back to Magneto's base, Wolverine, Cyclops, and Rogue. And then Professor X, through telekinesis or telepathy, tells them, "Oh no, we'll meet you halfway. We got something else to take care of." So they get on their own ship. We jump back to the villains. They're trying to take care of Molecule Man. Yeah, then their ship gets shot down by the other X-Men. So another fight breaks out between all the X-Men and the villains that were on the ship. Doc Ock, Absorbing Man, Titania. Volcania's there now because she made a deal with Enchantress to put her on the ship with Molecule Man, just so she can be there for him. But essentially that's two of them that are out of the battle. The X-Men are actually putting in a little bit of work. They're taking care of the villains for the most part. Wolverine chops off Absorbing Man's arm, which is it's kind of funny because he's just like, that's never happened to me before. And he doesn't even do it like in a fight. It's just like he's running past him. He's like, "Get away from me! I got something to do."
He said, "Out of my way," and just cut his arm off.
It's like total disrespect.
Yeah, above the elbow too.
And then Volcania, because she knows Wolverine is the one who did that to Molecule Man, she goes directly after him, and essentially trying to roast him alive. And you see Molecule Man running with his arm in his hand. Magneto, I don't know why he doesn't do more work to Doc Ock, but like he can totally rip out his tentacles, and he's done for after that. Or just kill him. You killed so many other people.
Yeah. I mean, technically, couldn't he have done something to Galactus too?
I guess technically. Depends on what he's made out of. But I'm assuming it's metal.
He could have fucked up He could have fucked up a lot of people.
Yeah, Dr. Doom has a whole suit full of metal. So they're fighting the villains. And they essentially make it out alive, surprisingly. The villains still one of their ships to fly off, but after that, like, the X-Men made it out. And this is probably like their best fight. Only 2 casualties.
No big deal.
Doom is still on Galactus' ship, but Claw kept warning him that if he stays there, if he keeps doing things, Galactus will know that he's there, and he will expel him if he has to. And so Doom is like, whatever, I'm just going to do what I'm doing. But you see Galactus, he knows something's up, but he's so focused on building a machine, he can't lose focus on that. Mm-hmm. But essentially, the volcanoes and all the stuff happening is being another distraction to him. So he has to deal with his machine, he has to deal with volcanoes, and he has that sense in the back of his head that something's going on a ship. So he somehow, just because he's connected to the ship, he turns on all the, the security measures, and it expels Doom. So it shoots him out of the ship, straight down to the planet, and he's just getting shot down like a meteor. The villains get back to the base, and they put Molecule Man in stasis to try to heal. And then they put Lizard in a cage, and that's where they pretty much leave him. And then Pile Driver of the Wrecking Crew he just wants to chill, but She-Hulk's already in the room. She lays into him, and she's putting in work, but then the other crew members come, and Titania comes, and then it just becomes all out brawl. And then everyone else comes, start whooping her ass, and they're just stomping on her.
You also forgot to mention that Absorbing Man was able to attach his arm back. Oh, yeah. He stayed stone the whole time because he was worried that if he turned back into just being a human, he would bleed out. Yeah. And then he put the broken piece of his arm just back in place, and then just said, "Forget it," and turned back human, and it connected.
I guess that's kind of a cool thing to learn about yourself.
Yeah, well, he was desperate. He was like, "I'm either just gonna die or like it's gonna work." So,
and then so they're beating up on She-Hulk. Doom walks in, looks like he just had a weekend of at Vegas,
a weekend at Bernie's.
He's just stumbling in and just falls on his bed and just. And then everyone else is they're beating the shit out of
Holy shit. Hit her with a crowbar in the face.
Even Doc Ock is in there.
Doc Ock's just in there pinching her.
And back at the heroes know that She-Hulk left and she's been gone all day. So they're like, can we go find her? Cap is like, no, I think we won't. Same thing. We got to be there for Galactus. Colossus the Creep is still trying to mac on that healer girl, but she looks like she's aged like 20 years, and all the healing is causing her to get sick. Professor X does his whole mind in the sky thing to everyone. So he hits Captain America up and is like, hey, if you want to go take care of or find She-Hulk, we'll watch Galactus for you. And,
I don't think so, buddy.
And Cap is like, cool. All right, everybody, let's go. So they jump on another ship, go to issue number 8. And that's the one with the classic Spider-Man in the black suit cover.
These covers really are really good.
Yeah. Oh, actually, they don't have a ship. They're just anybody who can fly is flying. Anyone who can't fly is on a rock that Iron Man is carrying. So they get to the base, crash into that. Enchantress is at the table, like, drunk as hell. And then she can't even fight anybody. She just trips and smacks her face on the ground. We jump to the Lizard. Lizard and Claw are now best friends.
The Lizard must be has a really good personality. Dr. Kirk Connors.
The Claw
best personality.
And him are just like buddy. Probably just because they have really like small minds. And then we jump to the villain still beating up on She-Hulk. They're literally like smacking her with like the ball and chain.
Everything they can find.
And then they hear the crash of the heroes coming in, so they all run after that. But Doc Ock gets one last hit in, picks her up and smacks her against a wall, and then runs away. Then we see Doom kind of still stumbling in, his bodyguard Ultron. The heroes it's a kind of back and forth. Some of them are getting taken out. Others are putting in work. Spider-Man, good punch. Pile driver.
Yeah.
I like how when he punches him, Absorbing Man is like, that kid just shot Bulldozer with one shot. It's like, maybe I better absorb the strength of the alien steel before I tackle him. But Spider-Man, anytime he shows up, he's putting in work.
Yeah.
But then the Thing, back in his Rocky form, he starts fighting the Absorbing Man, but mid-fight, he turns back into Ben Grimm. Spider-Woman comes in and takes care of Absorbing Man, and then...
Abroad!
Thor is putting in work against Doc Ock, and Hawkeye is going up against one of the wrecking crew, and he's just like, nah, he's like, what are the arrows going to do? Bullets bounce off of me. He's like, yeah, but you're a lot closer to me than this arrow would do if you were further away. He's like, oh yeah, what's that going to do? So he shoots him he just shoots him in the shoulder, and I think this guy doesn't do well with blood, so he just passes out.
He says, I've been wounded.
And he said, Lordy, I've been wounded. Enchantress takes Hulk down. Captain America takes Enchantress down. And then Titania's trying to drop a steel beam on people. But Spider-Man takes care of her. Basically uses her anger against her and throws her out a window. It's not happening here, but it happens. Hawkeye and Ben Grimm, the two most useless people on this team at the moment.
Yeah.
Because Hawkeye has no arrows. They decide to run down the hallway because they think the fight has gone that way. But they run into Claw and the Lizard. And you think they're about to have like a full-on brawl. But then we jump to Volcanion and Molecule Man. And she's basically just watching the door. Anybody who tries to come in, she's just like shooting plasma in there. Iron Man is able to get through, which allows everyone else to get through, and Captain Marvel flies in because she can fly at super speed. So she puts Molecule Man in a headlock, and Volcanion's like, please stop, like he's already hurt. You're pulling his wounds. And then Captain Marvel's like, oh, my bad. She's like, I didn't know he was hurt.
She's pulling that man apart.
And then, we go back to Spider-Man and Titania. Again, he's just putting in work. Like, not even letting her.
Ass.
Yeah. So he grabs her by the foot and then tosses her out of the window. Not knowing that she could survive that or not.
He didn't care. He's like, I'll just tell the rest of the team she fell.
Johnny, the Human Torch, and Captain America take care of Ultron by Johnny going supernova, and then Cap runs into Doom, and Doom is just not mentally there, so he's just like, oh, he's harmless, he's fine. And then we walk in on Ben Grimm, Hawkeye, Claw, and the Lizard playing patty cake.
I told you, the Lizard has a great personality.
Hawkeye says, after Spider-Man and the Hulk and Mr. Fantastic walk in, he says, "Hi guys, want to join a rousing game of patty cake?" And then Ben's like, "We arrived at a meeting of minds, so to speak." And then the other two, Lizard and Claw, are just like having the time of their life. Captain Marvel finds She-Hulk, and she's like barely living. They throw her in like the stasis pod, so hopefully she gets to heal. But they lock up all the other villains, and including Doom. So they kind of feel like the day's won. Colossus sees that the healer back in the village, she's kind of not doing too well, so he decides to smoke some of her fruit smoke or whatever. And he sees what she sees, which is pretty much what he would have seen anyway. So he doesn't see anything, but he sees that the Wasp wasn't really dead. She was wounded, and she had just healed her to some degree, but I guess it just wiped her out.
Oh, it took like all of her energy.
Yeah. So yeah, we find out the Wasp was alive, and then we find that Galactus is ready to start his machine up, and so they call the other heroes there. And at the bottom of this page, we see that Reed Richards is working on the Iron Man suit. And he says, "I'm curious, were you surprised there was a black man under this armor?" And then he says, "No, never really gave it a thought. I knew there was a man under there." That's pretty much it.
I don't care that you're black.
And on to the next one. This is my favorite panel, or my favorite pages. Because as you know, before, when they thought Thor had died, his helmet and his cape were left. So since then, he's been just running around in his black armor with his pants and his hammer.
Yeah.
And then we see him again, and he has his cape and his helmet back. So Spider-Man's like, "Hey, like, where'd you get that?" And he's like, "Oh, there's a machine back there that just gives us, our suits." And Spider-Man's like, "Oh, cool." He's like, "My suit looks ripped up, so I might as well go." So he just finds the machine, and he's like, "This looks like a machine that will read my mind." And so he does it, and then that's when the black suit pops up. Gives him his web shooters back because he hasn't been using his webs since Reed took them. And all organic webs. And then that's the end of issue 8. Alright, so the battle-wounded Colossus exits the rustic building he is healing inside to see Galactus starting up his machine to devour the planet. He re-enters the building to tend to the unconscious, the healer girl. Her name is like Zazie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he tends to Zazie. He tells her he loves her and goes out to help stop Galactus. Meanwhile, the X-Men and Magneto try to attack Galactus. An energy ball appears and blocks them from continuing up the mountain. In the village, Hawkeye, Captain Marvel, and Wasp watch the X-Men try to battle it, when suddenly a large blast on the mountain makes them think the X-Men may have been defeated. At Doom Base, the remaining heroes try to return to the battle that is going on the top of the mountainside. They take a ship from the base and begin to travel to the battle. Hulk is distraught over his new intelligence of Bruce Banner's mind in his body. Ben Grimm suddenly regains his powers as the Thing. Iron Man ponders what Spider-Woman's true intentions are. Spider-Man, meanwhile, is glad to have his webs back since he has donned the new black suit. Mr. Fantastic thinks of reasons as to why they are all there in the first place. They reach the mountain and are hit by Galactus' beams. They crash into Colossus, who braces their ship from impact. So this man was on death's doorstep, fell in love, and then now has a new lease on life.
But he catches the ship.
Yeah, he catches it.
But then, gets crushed when it comes down.
When I read that panel, the next panel was him, laying there.
Yeah.
So I was like, what the hell happened to him? And then I realized he was holding it.
A new lease on life almost got him killed.
And then yeah, so that happens, and then the heroes exit the ship. I just imagine them being like, "Oh shit, like we didn't crash," and they just get out because an emergency.
Yeah.
They don't even realize that Colossus is under there. They just run past.
Colossus, get out!
You're healed. Come on. So the heroes exit the ship and they begin their fight to reach Galactus. As they get closer, Mr. Fantastic realizes a meaning to this conflict and tells the heroes not to stop Galactus. He says the only way to stop Galactus is to let him win. In doing this, the Beyonder will grant him the wish of freedom from his planet-consuming hunger. As they all agree to stop fighting, Reed suddenly vanishes along with Galactus and the construct Galactus built. Reed appears on Galactus' homeworld, which is housed in his spaceship in space. There, Galactus shows Reed a vision of his pregnant wife and their child, Franklin. Then Galactus tells Reed to listen to what he is about to tell him. Then we jump to Doom. Inside the containment unit in Doom Base, Dr. Doom determines that he needs to get to Galactus' homeworld as he breaks free of his cell. He ignores the pleas of the other villains who are still trapped and release only one other, Claw. On the mountainside, Colossus frees the trapped X-Men from beneath some rubble. They all journey to the village, and Colossus realizes that Zazie is awake and runs not to him, but to the Human Torch. While they are all discussing what to do, Mr. Fantastic reappears in the village. He says Galactus told him that Reed was the champion of life. This embroils him not to fight Galactus. The Avengers decide otherwise. Galactus reappears on the mountain and turns on the machine again. The Avengers then head back towards the mountain. Dr. Doom watches the battle from inside the Doom base, where he cuts up Claw into tiny disc-shaped lenses. so Claw is like, he's literally just a head at one point with like a good quarter chunk taken out of it.
Yeah, he looks like a sliced ham.
Yeah, and Doom is literally creating what looks like glass lenses out of his body. The battle continues and Mr. Fantastic realizes he must stop Galactus to be able to see his son born. He tells the heroes to stop Galactus from leaving and they cannot. He flies off to his homeworld where he begins to devour it and create a huge energy field. Doom sees this as his opportunity to steal the energy for that homeworld by using the claw disc as a siphon. So, reading this, I got confused and kind of irritated. Because first he's saying, we have to stop Galactus.
Yeah.
Then, don't stop Galactus. Then, stop Galactus. So I'm like, at first, like, if they were just going to be like, we got to stop him, and then like, oh, wait, no, don't stop him, because this,
yeah,
then it would have been fine. But now you're saying don't stop him, or stop him again. It's like, okay, now I'm losing momentum in, like, the stakes here.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what the stakes are now. Like, do you want him to destroy the world or not? And then with Doom and his contact lenses now, it's like, everything just seems... At this point, I feel like they could have ended it a little bit sooner. Maybe the Galactus thing could have been the last thing. But now we go on to issue number 10. With the heroes of Battleworld preventing Galactus from trying to consume the planet, Galactus has no choice but to consume his own world ship for sustenance. The heroes quickly shield their eyes from the blinding flashing of the light. However, as they witness Galactus consuming the energy needed, they suddenly spot it being diverted back to Doom Base. Captain Marvel quickly travels there at the speed of light to see what happened and witnesses Dr. Doom bombarding himself with energies which he is filtering through special lenses made of Claw's body. She reports this new development back to the others via Professor X's telepathic link. With the process finished, Doom is revitalized by the sheer power as he has absorbed, but soon finds that his perceptions have been enhanced beyond human comprehension. After acclimatizing himself, Doom suddenly senses Captain Marvel's presence in his midst. When Xavier's side link is suddenly cut off, all the heroes rush to the nearest shuttle, which is held aloft by Magneto's power. I thought that was pretty cool when they show like how he's perceiving everything.
Yeah. And
how he can he described it as he can feel all the atoms and the shape of them and how they move, and he just knew like the shape of the building, and I was like, damn, like this is the way they kind of described it. Kind of like I can kind of understand it in a way.
Yeah, this would have been because in the Spider-Man episodes, Doom was like, I'm not gonna just deal with like this little game that the Beyonder's playing.
Mm.
So he found a way to teleport to where the Beyonder was, and then it just absorbed his powers with this gun that he had, and it just took off from there. But this is that was pretty damn cool in the show, but this is a hell of a lot cooler.
Okay, and then along the way, Captain America makes a comment about Magneto living up to his hype. This starts a heated exchange between the two about human-mutant relations. When Cap says he is only standing by with Magneto due to the fact that the X-Men are vouching for him, that's when Wolverine pipes up and berates Captain America for not doing as much for mutants as he does for ordinary humans. When Wolverine becomes too heated, the X-Men pull him back to prevent a fight from happening. While back at Doom Base, Doom is debating on what to do about the Beyonder, as he has power beyond compare, but is it enough to stop the Beyonder? What was that movie? Where you kept saying things as like, was it Zoolander?
No, Anchorman.
I am Ron Burgundy. Doom holds counsel with the severed head of Claw and decides that he must tempt fate and face the Beyonder, even if it means his death. Utilizing his newfound power, Doom constructs a new suit of armor and departs for space. The heroes soon arrive and find not a trace of Doom, and all their prisoners still locked in their cells. Spider-Woman finds Captain Marvel, who has somehow been trapped in her light form. They also find the severed head of Claw, and after a massive earthquake, the disembodied villain tells them that Doom is about to face off against the Beyonder himself. In deep space, the Beyonder demanding that Doom go back and not approach him, but Doom is more determined than ever to claim the ultimate prize. How big does your balls have to be to just, one, steal the power of a force of nature, and then decide, I'm also going to steal the power of, I don't even know if the Beyonder would be considered a force of nature or if it's just unlimited ultimate power.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's so determined to just get what he wants out of this situation. Like, he stole this power and he's like, now I'm gonna go find the guy who brought us here in the first place and do God knows what. This is like Thanos level, probably even more.
Yeah, the only thing I can actually compare this to in real life would be like, if you got hired at McDonald's and then the next week you're just like, I'm gonna become CEO of McDonald's. Yeah. And then literally just
yeah. It's like you
start taking people's jobs.
Like, you're like 8 days into it and you're like, I think I'm just gonna be manager now. And then the manager's like, what are you talking about? You're like, get out. Oh,
your performance isn't doing it.
You have not been pulling your weight around here. It's time for you to go. I'm sorry. And then the manager just leaves, and then the next day you're like, okay, I think I'm gonna go to talk to the CEO now. It's not like, let me schedule something, let me call a secretary. Yeah. It's like, no, I think tomorrow I'm gonna go talk to the CEO.
You skip so many levels.
Yeah. And because I don't like the way that he's been doing all this. They hired me really quickly here. I don't think that this is a good practice.
And so, with the planet still shaking up, Mr. Fantastic suggests that they try and revive Galactus and locate him in space on their monitors. Before they can act, another shockwave hits, causing parts of Doombase to collapse on some of the heroes. Amid the chaos, Colossus notices that Zazi's village is in danger as well and wants to go out to her, but knows that she only cares for the Human Torch. Colossus is shocked when the Torch is disinterested in helping her while trying to help Mr. Fantastic from under the rubble. He says a line, something along the lines of like, I think Colossus is like, hey, Johnny, she's hurt or like something. And he's like, that's fine, I'll send her a get well card. It's like, damn, dude.
I ain't tripping on that.
That's just some space tank. And he walks off through the Thriller dance.
He's trying to save Reed's life singing Thriller the whole time.
Reed, it's Thriller. Do the dance.
Reed's arms just like just flapping. It's like 12 feet long and he's just like flapping them. Come on, Reed.
And so Yeah, insulted by this, Colossus is about to start a fight when suddenly the planet is rocked by another massive earthquake. While in space, Doctor Doom continues his attack on the Beyonder. While his foe continues doubling his power to match Doom's, the monarch of Latveria refuses to surrender. As a final effort, Doom beams an image of himself back to Earth and appears before the heroes. He asks them who wishes to defeat the Beyonder and lend them their power, offering them everything they could want and more. All they need is to take his hand. When Magneto reaches out to take it, Wasp, Hawkeye, and Iron Man attack him. Magneto is kept at bay long enough that Doom cannot maintain the image anymore and disappears. After he's gone, Hawkeye tries to chastise the X-Men for trusting Magneto, but Captain America orders him to stand down. Doctor Doom has been defeated. His ravaged body now lays on the surface of Battleworld. However, soon he is enveloped in energy and his mind probed. Doom's life flashes before his eyes. His discovery that his late mother was a witch, how he became a famous defender of his people, the accident that ruined his face, his rise to power in Latveria, and his endless quest to rescue the soul of his mother from the clutches of the demon Mephisto. Unwilling to die, Doom suddenly finds his body being recreated and his armor repaired by the energy swirling around him. The rebirth is causing more earthquakes that threaten to bring down Doom base around the heroes. Captain America calls out an evacuation as well as orders that their prisoners be freed so they can escape themselves. The heroes regroup just as Doom base crumbles to the ground. Suddenly, there is a blinding flash of light that appears above them and changes into a massive Doctor Doom. Doom announces that the Beyonder is dead and shrinking back down to human size. Doom removes his mask and declares the secret war is over. Dun dun dun. Pretty heavy stuff, if you ask me. They're just like, I just kind of don't like how Doom always kind of wins. He always wins to some degree, but then loses.
Yeah. I feel like that's every villain.
Yeah.
At least the ones that we've read so far. It's like they either just get bested every time, or they win like halfway through and then lose at the end of it.
Yeah. I want to see a villain just win.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for.
And so on to book 11. We're almost done. Okay. Dr. Doom has stolen the power of the Beyonder and appeared before the heroes gathered on Battleworld. Removing his mask, Doom reveals his face has been completely healed. He then announces that with the Beyonder seemingly dead, the secret wars are now over. From afar, Doom's former minions watch as Doom speaks with the heroes, thinking Doom has betrayed them. The Molecule Man is furious and uses his powers to uproot the earth under the heroes and fling them across the Battleworld. When Owen Reese angrily confronts Doom, Doom merely opens up Reese's mind and removes the mental blocks that prevented him from being able to alter the molecules of living things. Struck by his revelation, Molecule Man suggests that they retreat and figure out their next move. Volcania suggests her apartment, and so the Molecule creates a ship that will allow them to fly to the chunk of Denver that was brought to Battleworld. Such a random Denver.
Well,
Meanwhile, the heroes regroup at Doom Base to review their notes and decide what to do. I just imagine them as all like notebooks that they've been having. I'm like, so what do you got? Okay, so Doom's big now. He has powers. I have that too.
Okay, yeah, cool. Hey, so is anyone gonna ask about Spider-Woman? Because she just kind of showed up. She said she was here for a couple of days and didn't do anything.
You just see her just like duck behind a rock.
I'm gonna go back to that stretch of Denver that's over there. I'll see you guys later.
So meanwhile, the heroes regroup at Doom Base, review their notes, and decide what to do with the now godlike Dr. Doom. While they discuss this, the villains have regrouped at Marsh's apartment. There they all agree that the secret wars are not worth it and want to go home, even if it means forfeiting the prize. With that, Molecule Man uses his powers to erect an airtight dome around Denver and pull it free from Battleworld and venture off into space. This is picked up by the hero scanners, and when Spider-Woman expresses concern for the friends and family she still has in Denver, Mr. Fantastic regretfully tells her that there is nothing they can do. That evening, Colossus cannot sleep because of his growing feelings for the alien Zazie that he has fallen in love with. Unwilling to go forward with whatever plans until he sees her once more, Colossus leaves in the night. As he goes, a ball of energy arrives at Doom Base and takes possession of the Hulk. The possessed Hulk is spotted by Spider-Woman, who tries to stop him. When Hulk's path is impeded, the energy that is possessing him switches over to her, and she continues on into the lab. There, she finds Captain Marvel, still trapped in energy form, as well as the severed head of Claw. Before she can do anything, there is a blinding flash of light that causes her to scream. Ah! When the other heroes arrive, they find Claw missing and Captain Marvel restored to normal. They also find a message from Dr. Doom telling them to meet him at the Tower of Doom at dusk the following day.
Did you read this? Did you see this panel?
I probably saw the panel.
You just put it on there while you're summoned to Dr. Doom's tower. Just imagine walking into your office one day and then you see that.
Someone just got a knife and just...
You're summoned to the Tower of Doom tomorrow at dusk.
Like, bro, there's no sun anymore. What time is it? When they wonder where the Tower of Doom is, they look out the window and see a massive stone tower off in the distance. Doom has reformed Claw and brought him to his side. Having grown tired, Doom orders Claw to guard his tower while he sleeps. At the alien village, Zazie is awoken by the arrival of Colossus, who has brought her flowers and professes his love for her. Back at Doom Base, Nightcrawler and Wolverine are looking for Colossus for the big meeting. Wolverine points out that he is off with Zazie, and Nightcrawler lamentates about what this will do to Peter's girlfriend Kitty Pryde back home. Wolverine points out that Colossus isn't really in love with Zazie, he's just feeling the after effects of her healing powers. Ah, that makes sense. How come Janet didn't fall in love?
She is. This isn't the time to come out.
The heroes soon board a craft and fly out to Doom's tower to meet with him. Doom announces to them that there is no more need to fight, as he intends to use his omnipotence for altruistic ends. In order to demonstrate this, he uses his power to resurrect King the Conqueror and return him to his own time. He also explains that he has summoned Nova, the Herald of Galactus, to recover her master from space. He then offers to grant the heroes any wish they want to recompense for all the suffering he has caused them in the past. When they all begin discussing it, Captain America notices that Spider-Woman is acting strangely and paying particular attention to Claw. Cap eventually comes back and tells Doom they want nothing. As such, Doom allows them to go free but warns them against acting against him in the future, as he will destroy them instantly. As the heroes exit, Captain America sends everyone else back so he can venture back inside and try to spy on Doom. He finds Doom spending time with Claw, and once detected, Doom invites Captain America in, sending Claw away. Down one of the corridors, Claw is ambushed by Spider-Woman, and the energy that has been possessing her since the night before transfers to Claw. Captain America hears that Doom has no interest in conquering the universe, and when Claw returns to inform him that Spider-Woman is knocked out in the hallway, Doom sends Captain America away to her. A lot going on here.
Yeah.
Outside, he finds the others still waiting and tells them that they need to call a meeting. There's too many meetings on this place.
Yeah. You guys have been here like 4 days. You guys had like 12 meetings.
We have a meeting about the next meeting.
Yeah, and you guys haven't accomplished anything.
Elsewhere, Colossus is trying to have a romantic interlude with Zazie, but is forced to come back due to the mental summons of Professor X.
Yeah, this dude is
cock-block.
Not even joking with you. Colossus is on top of this woman, and something is getting ready to happen. And then all of a sudden, Professor X says, "Hey, buddy, we need you back. Get over here." He even tells him, "Go away." He's like, "Go away, Professor."
That's so weird.
He's like, Zazie, I'm sorry, I have to go.
The heroes then meet back at Doom Base, where they discuss whether they should go up against a godlike Dr. Doom or leave him be. But they agree to only go after the foe if the vote is unanimous. Everyone agrees that Doom cannot be left with such power unchecked, and with almost everyone voting yes. With the last vote boiling down to Colossus, he tearfully asks Zazie to forgive him and votes yes. The moment he does, the heroes are torn apart by a massive blast of energy that seemingly kills all of them. And that's where that issue ends.
So they, at one point, they, like you said, they had to all vote and it had to be unanimous. And then Colossus is like one of the last ones who votes. And he starts crying. And then he votes and says, yeah, let's do it. And then like he says, forgive me, Zazie. I say yes, we must fight.
I bet she just like stares at him and just like...
She wasn't even there.
When she said I gotta go, she just like stares at him.
Yeah, she doesn't even understand your language, dude.
I was thinking like, I guess as an X-Men or just as a superhero and all the stuff you get into, it must not be that weird to fall in love with an alien creature.
I guess not. Not really. Not when you can switch from being human to metal.
Yeah.
It's probably not that weird. You also have to understand that you're like 2 days ago you were thirsting over like a teenager.
Yeah.
And something's not right here. You're missing something. There is a clear balance here that you don't have. You're leaning towards one side.
All right. Any guesses on how this ends?
They all go back to Earth and everything's okay.
Let's find out. For daring to unite against the omnipotent power of Dr. Doom, the heroes on Battleworld have been annihilated for their defiance. Seeing the smoldering wreckage of Doom Base is Zazie and her people who rush to the location to see what befell the champions who defeated them or who defended them against the evil beset upon them. From his new home at the Tower of Doom, Dr. Doom assures Claw that he has slain the heroes and they will not stand in his way again. That his will is certain. Meanwhile, millions of miles away, the villains who were brought to Battleworld are transporting the city of Denver back to Earth, thanks to the enhanced powers of Molecule Man. Curious as to what is happening on Battleworld, the Enchantress summons a water sprite from Marsha Rosenberg's bathtub and has it reveal what happened on Battleworld since their departure. It reveals to her that the Beyonder has seemingly perished and Dr. Doom has stolen his power. The Enchantress hopes for a moment of vulnerability so she can strike at Doom before he can use his power against her. When the lizard begins to freak out, the Enchantress uses a distraction to call out to Volcania in order to make her pay for helping her reach Molecule Man earlier in the Secret Wars. So earlier when Molecule Man was hurt and they were flying him back on the jet, it was just Titania, Molecule Man, Doc Ock, and Absorbing Man.
Mm-hmm.
When Volcania was still at Doom Base and she heard what happened, she wanted to be there with them to, just in case he died. Mm-hmm. So Enchantress is like, I'll send you there, but you owe me.
Yeah.
And so she's like, fine, anything. So she sent her. And then when they got back to Doom Base, she was like, I'll do anything if you can heal him. And she was like, you already owe me. I already took everything from you. You have nothing to give. Mm-hmm. And so now she's going to cash in on that.
Fam, real quick. So you saw she was talking to like the water lady. Look at how they have this girl drawn. Look at that bottom panel. What were they doing here? This girl, I can't even say it because
very provocative.
Yeah, this is nuts. I'm gonna post this with the cover.
It looks like I could see like Miley Cyrus, like that's like her cover picture for like I don't know, like whatever magazine she would be on or something.
Yeah, this is wild. I don't know how you guys got away with this, Marvel. Even in even in '84, I might snatch this away from my kid.
I don't know. Have you ever seen Airplane?
I think so.
That movie was rated PG, right? And there's a shot where it's just the camera cuts across. Mm-hmm. It's just a bare pair of boobs just shaking on the screen. Rated PG.
Okay, never mind. I thought this was a little too provocative for kids. They were showing boobs on right after the cartoons on Saturdays, I guess.
Man, what a time to be alive in the 80s. Man. Okay. Yeah, the lizard freaks out. Enchantress uses her distraction to call out to Volcanion in order to make her pay for helping her reach Molecule Man earlier. Taking Marsha to a nearby park, Amora intends to steal her life force in order to gain additional power. Meanwhile, the Molecule Man fights it out with Dr. Octopus, who has come to doubt his ability to get them home. After Owen restrains Otto, the lizard points out that Marcia is missing. They find her in Enchantress's clutches and attack. When Amora tries to teleport back to Battleworld, the lizard leaps at her and is transported there as well. When the lizard slashes her face, the Enchantress absorbs his life force in order to return to Asgard. Meanwhile, Dr. Doom slumbers, and while he does, Claw tries to get close to him, but Dr. Doom quickly awakens. Claw then begins instilling doubt in Doom's mind, telling him that he may not have killed the heroes as he thought. Doom plays into this, and Claw recreates a hologram showing the healer Zazie using her power to revive Colossus, dying in the process. Heartbroken, Colossus brings his fellow heroes back to Doom Base and uses the medical devices there to revive the others. Doom denies this theory even when Claw suggests that he subconsciously did not want them to die. When Doom continues to deny this, suddenly he is proven wrong when Thor's hammer comes crashing through the wall. I can hear the sound of, from like the movies of Mjolnir like flying through the wall. Doom's power flares out of control, destroying the nearby planet.
God damn my eucalyptus. That was the only plant that I had.
With the heroes about to besiege him, he listens to Claw's suggestion of giving him a portion of his power to deal with the heroes. Claw is given a fraction of Doom's stolen power, and he goes out to face the heroes. Using his power, he creates monsters for them to fight, as well as rebuild Ultron. The Thing slugs it out with one of the monsters, and then suddenly starts to revert back to Ben Grimm. Through sheer force of will, he prevents the transformation, cementing the idea in his mind that Battleworld allows him to change back and forth. Elsewhere on the battlefield, Ultron has some of the others on the ropes when suddenly he blows up. The reason why becomes apparent when the Wasp emerges from his ruined shell, having used her bio stings to damage his vulnerable internal components. As the battle rages on, Captain America gets past the monsters and Claw and confronts Doctor Doom directly. Doom tries to atomize Captain America, but the hero suddenly appears every time he tries to destroy him. This causes Doom's powers to flare out of control, what Claw, or rather being possessed by him, has planned all along. When Doom is finally in a weakened state, the Beyonder emerges from Claw's body and reclaims his stolen power, restoring Doom back to his normal state and banishing both he and Claw away. The secret war is not officially over. The heroes regroup at Doom Base to try and figure out a way to get back home. There, Colossus has a funeral for Zazie and weeps over her grave. Out of context, it sounds really bad for us laughing. But it's just so.
He's such a simp. He's known this girl for 2 days. She hasn't done anything but heal him. And she never actually spoke a word to him because they don't speak the same language. And this man is head over heels in love.
At least with the Human Torch, she at least learned his name.
Yeah.
And Colossus only knows her name because the Human Torch knows her name.
Yeah. Sorry, Colossus.
So he has a funeral for her, weeps over her grave. Later, Spider-Man finds that the X-Men have created new costumes for themselves. When he sees the others doing so as well, he finds it curious that they're not using the same machine that he got his uniform from. The Hulk's leg is broken and Mr. Fantastic binds it in a metal brace. As the heroes rest after their victory, they are surprised when Kirk Connors, having been reverted back to human form from the lizard, arrives. Can you imagine? You've been on this patched up planet for a week.
Yeah.
Seen people die, come back to life. Heroes, villains fighting each other. Planets being destroyed. God powers. And then all of a sudden this normal ass man just walks in.
This man missing an arm just walks in a purple pair of pants.
And then nobody knows who.
No. The only one who knows him is Spider-Man.
When this happy reunion between Connors and Spider-Man is happening, Nightcrawler wishes Kitty's dragon Lockheed would return. Almost as if on cue, Lockheed does return with with another small dragon in tow. Mr. Fantastic meets the others and explains that the residual energies from the Beyonder are what is causing the strange series of wish fulfillment that they have experienced recently. Hearing this, Captain America goes into a back room with a shattered shield and is happy to see that he's able to repair it through sheer force of will. Mr. Fantastic is able to cobble together a device that will allow him to teleport them all back home. First, he sends back Hulk, Magneto, Spider-Man, Kirk Connors, and Spider-Woman. Next are the X-Men after Professor X consoles Colossus over the loss of Ozzy, convincing him to go back home with them so her sacrifice isn't in vain. This man was ready to stay there.
She's dead, and he's still willing to stay there.
As Mr. Fantastic prepares to teleport them away, the strange dragon that followed Lockheed flies into the teleportation beam, causing some strange feedback, leaving the rest to wonder what will happen to them when they return home to Earth. Before the Avengers prepare to return home as well, the Thing arrives with She-Hulk, who is wearing a Fantastic Four costume. Ben explains to Reed and Johnny that he intends to stay on Battleworld for a while to enjoy the ability to change back and forth between human and Thing form, and has selected She-Hulk as his replacement for the team. After the Avengers teleport off, Ben insists that he is staying. Reed thinks briefly for a moment about telling Ben what he knows about his transformations, and thinks against it, hoping he will discover the truth in time. Before going, Reed passes Ben the teleportation device so that Ben can use it whenever he's ready to return home. After Mr. Fantastic, the Torch, and She-Hulk are teleported away, Ben begins his first steps of his greatest adventure yet.
Real quick. First, that was a good story. I liked it. But second, when all the X-Men had changed their outfits, Professor X also changed his. And I don't know if you've seen it or not, but look how this man is dressed. Look at this. This man went from wearing a suit, walking around, to yellow spandex with a big black X on the front.
Everyone else got new costumes, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we're getting new costumes."
Yeah,
and then they're like, "Shit, who told us?"
Hey, you guys were supposed to just do it.
I feel like he's the boss that, like, when he's not there, everyone's like chill at work, but the moment he steps in, everyone starts stressing out.
Yeah,
they can't enjoy work.
Oh God, I thought you guys said he wasn't gonna come in today.
He's like, "Hey team, high fives all around." Yeah. All right, good teamwork, everybody.
He's Robert California. All right, what did you think of it?
I really liked it. I thought it was, like I said in the beginning, I like that it's there's just so much going on.
Mm-hmm.
There is, these characters meeting these characters, this fight happening, and the fights were like, they felt real, or not real, but like they felt like not just like, oh, I'm gonna punch you, and like there's all this stuff going on. Like you can look in the back of the panel and see these two characters fighting while these two are doing something in the front. So it's just cool to kind of see that. I did think it was a little long, especially for like just to see Doom get his power and then lose it all at the end.
Yeah,
they're just kind of like the stakes were high, and then unnecessarily they kept going up and up, and then the payoff didn't really seem like it was all that good.
Yeah, you can't give us like the peak in like out of 12 issues. You give us the peak at like issue 8 or 9.
Yeah, and
then we spent the last 3 issues just like, okay, well here's the cool down.
Yeah, but overall, I mean, it was good. I liked it, especially for like we talk about like those monumental like stories that we hear about so often, and it actually being good.
Yeah.
So I think it was you get to blow up the house for me. I wasn't expecting it that quick.
Yeah, I'm giving it a stamp of approval this week too. So watch your ears on this one. Yeah, it was good. I really liked it. I've never read it before, but I've always heard stuff about it. Like I even follow an Instagram page that is 1984 Secret Wars. I think that's what it is. And all they post is Secret War stuff. That's it. It was dope.
Is it like trivia or is it just?
It's some trivia. They post some panels from the books, but it's only the 1984 one. And yeah, I liked it. I really enjoyed it. It was fun. And I always get worried when there's too many characters that it's not gonna make sense, like last week's.
Yeah.
Like that most of the characters don't have anything to do with the story. They're just there. But everybody here had a part in everything, which was probably a benefit, which probably works because it was so long.
Yeah, I
agree with that. You have time to actually write for everybody.
Yeah,
it was really good. It was a lot better than I didn't know if it was gonna be one of those stories that everybody just hypes because like it was a big story at the time, so everybody's nostalgic about it, and it's just like, yeah, cool, whatever. But it was actually really good.
Agreed.
Yeah, we got I think we got another crossover coming up. The Spider-Man versus Superman Part 2 is coming up. We got, I believe, the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness special is coming up. We might have some guests on for that. And yeah, thanks for sticking around for a two-part. Actually, this is our first two-parter of the season. Thanks for sticking around, guys. Thanks for listening, and we will be back next week. Peace.
Bye-bye.